I thought I would read one that came up in the rooted community recently that I thought would be worth revisiting. This wasn't a person in foundations, but it's a topic that we see often. She said, so my son probably has a light case of dyslexia. I probably have stealth dyslexia. When reading books aloud, he regularly skips and adds words, usually the small words such as the, in, that, to modify the sentences as he reads. If I'm honest, I do the same. How important is it to make him reread each of these sentences correctly? It's killing him and me. He already hates learning and school. And then, in response to someone's comment on that post about whether or not the student starts out reading accurately and then starts to make mistakes as they fatigue, the poster said it's more like this happens all the time. I'm sure it's hard for him to stay focused on the sentence. I'm trying to get him to read with a pencil or line marker, but he just hates it. And often he assumes he's right, and while rereading it, continues to say it wrong. So it's a question we get a lot about, like, how accurate do we really need to make these kids be?
It's not an answer you're going to love, unfortunately, but the answer is we really want them being like 95 to 98% accurate in order to be good readers. That what he's doing is he's not phonologically processing really everything that he reads, such that he's missing all these function words, which, by the way, are highly grammatical. They're there for a reason. They hold a lot of detail sometimes. And so kids can have major comprehension breakdowns due to misreading all these little function words that feel like initially like, well, it doesn't really matter. They're getting all the big, juicy content words. Well, yeah, it does if they misread he for she and they spent the whole time thinking this female main character is a boy. That's a big comprehension mistake.
Or they miss past tense. They often drop a lot of
Right.
um or the past as our verb tense class talks about. You know, they don't understand when there are shifts in time when we're talking past participles versus past tense.
Right. So
That
basically,
kind of
if you
yeah,
want good comprehension, you have to care. You have to hold them accountable,
and he's not
and they're
using
going to
good
hate it.
skills. He's not
Yeah.
actually reading, he's guessing. And so, as long as we continue to let kids guess rather than read, they're not improving. They're practicing bad skills.
Skills.
They're
Yeah.
not practicing becoming better readers.
So,
So,
I mean, it's sort of almost, I hate, this sounds harsh, but at a certain point, you got to ask yourself, why am I doing this work with them? Because you might as well not if you're going to just let them read like that. Like, then,
So what's the like the steps to take? Like, do you like, I remember this isn't reading, but it was copy work for my son. Like, I had to go back to like the very basics, just copying two words. Like, how far back do you go to then start to rebuild?
controlled text, you go
yeah.
all the way back to controlled text. Controlled text is awkward and it is
It sort
not
of
based
forces,
on
yeah.
what you would guess. I mean, if you look in the foundations class, we talk about when we have kids practice reading sentences, we have them track, we track whether they were accurate, and they have to track how many of those sentences were accurate. We do that all the time. You go all the way back. I mean, honestly, I would take him through foundations if she's not and or if he's
Or regularly for foundational skill work, be doing controlled text sentences and passages that he has to read aloud, read with a pencil. He's doing it, you're doing it, and you are tracking how accurate he can be. Can you read a whole passage and make only one or two mistakes? You
and
know,
what's the writing? What's the spelling? My guess is that it's not looking great.
right.
So, there's a reason why if you have dyslexia, you have to do explicit instruction, because it's a weakness. Kids are going to keep working around the weakness, which is an admirable effort. But if you don't strengthen what's weak, you're not going to get there. So, sadly, that is the answer, and a lot of people don't want it. And kids who are good at guessing, they in particular hate it because they feel like they're now having to go back and be slower and work harder. And if they could just do it their way, they'd be done already.
Right.
Um, but it's not going to work.
But
It's
what's
just,
your goal? Is your goal for them to be done already, or is your goal for them to grow their ability to comprehend while they read independently?
yeah,
Right.
right, right.
Their
Always
goal is to
comes
be done
back to
already.
what it always comes back to what's the goal.
Yeah, yeah, like we always say, what's the goal?